I stood outside the iron gates of my own son's wedding venue, clutching a velvet box containing $100 million in diamonds, a collection I'd spent decades acquiring, each stone representing a sacrifice I thought was building his future. But the gates were locked. The security guard's words shattered my heart. "You're not on the list, ma'am. The groom specifically requested you stay out." My son, my only child, had locked me out on the most important day of his life. I could hear music and laughter inside, celebrating a union I wasn't allowed to witness. Standing alone as the sun set, I realized I had no idea who my son had become or what I'd done to deserve this. But what nobody knew was that this box held more than precious stones. It held the truth about everything. How does a mother become a stranger to her own son? My name is Eleanor, and for 32 years, I believed I was doing everything right. I worked 16-hour days for the best education money could buy. I missed school plays because I was closing deals that would secure our future. I thought love was measured in opportunities created, in financial security guaranteed. But standing outside those gates, I had to ask, when did my son stop seeing me as his mother? What conversations did I miss? And most haunting, would this box full of everything I'd worked for mean anything at all? Or had I already lost the only thing that truly mattered? Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And if you're new here, subscribe so you never miss our upcoming videos. It began in a small Pittsburgh apartment where dreams felt bigger than our cramped rooms. I was 23 when Marcus was born, a single mother working 2 jobs while finishing my business degree. His father left when I was 6 months pregnant. In that hospital room, I made Marcus a promise. "You will never struggle the way I did. You will have every opportunity one never had." Those early years were beautiful despite the exhaustion. Saturday morning pancakes, bedtime stories, just us against the world. But when Marcus was 7, I was offered a partnership in New York. Triple the salary, brutal hours. My mother urged caution. "Ellie, you're all he has. Maybe stability matters more than money." I dismissed her concerns. "This is for Marcus. This is how I give him the life he deserves." We moved to Manhattan, and I threw myself into work, determined to prove a single mother from Pittsburgh could compete in those glass towers. The deals got bigger, the hours longer, the distance between us wider. My mother moved with us for childcare, becoming the steady presence I couldn't be. By 12, I'd missed 3 birthdays due to business trips. By 15, we barely spoke beyond logistics. I thought I was winning, my bank account growing, Marcus in the best schools, my diamond collection expanding as investment. Each stone represented another milestone, another sacrifice with purpose. I just didn't realize I was building his inheritance on a foundation of missed moments that money could never buy back. The first real crack appeared when Marcus was 17. Accepted to Stanford, Princeton, and Yale, but when I came home early to celebrate, I found him in the dark, staring at acceptance letters like rejection notices. "Did you even read my application essays?" he asked. I hadn't. I was in Tokyo closing a merger. I wrote about wanting to study music composition, film scoring. Did you know that's what I actually want? I felt panic mixed with irritation. "Marcus, music is a hobby, not a career." He stood, and I saw something break. "You have no idea who I am, do you? You know my grades, but not what I dream about." "Grandma knows. She listens. But you're just the woman who pays for everything and shows up for photo opportunities." The argument exploded years of unspoken resentment. He accused me of caring more about my image than being his mother. I accused him of ingratitude, of not understanding my sacrifices. My mother begged us to stop. But the damage was done. He went to Princeton and majored in economics because I insisted. But something fundamental had shifted. Phone calls became less frequent, visits shorter, filled with polite distance. I told myself it was a phase, that he'd understand once he saw how hard the real world was. Years blurred into continued success. My firm went public, my net worth climbed into hundreds of millions, and my relationship with my son deteriorated into occasional text messages. Then came the engagement announcement via group text. No call, no lunch to meet her, just, "We're getting married in October." Details to follow. My mother asked, "When was the last time you asked him about his life?" Not his career, but his actual life. I couldn't answer. That night, I decided on a wedding gift that would demonstrate everything I couldn't say in words. From my vault, I selected the finest diamonds, worth $100 million. I had them set in a custom box, each stone nestled in velvet like stars in the sky. It would be my grand gesture, showing him that everything I'd built was always meant to be his. If this story is resonating with you, comment, "I'm still watching" below. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right for someone you love, only to discover you had it all wrong? Think about that as we continue, because Eleanor's story is about to take a turn that will change everything. The wedding invitation arrived 6 weeks before the ceremony, beautiful, expensive, and impersonal. Ms. Eleanor Chin and guest. No personal note, no phone call. My mother tried to be positive. He invited you. That's something. But I knew better. This was obligation, not reconciliation. I cleared my entire calendar for the first time in decades, hired Manhattan's best designer, wrote and rewrote a speech, and kept the velvet box close, imagining the moment I'd present it. I tried calling him 3 times the week before. All went to voicemail. My text, "Looking forward to Saturday. So proud of you. Love, Mom," got a thumbs up emoji 12 hours later. Nothing more. My mother warned me, "Marcus might not be ready to let you back in. Don't make a scene or force reconciliation with some grand gesture." But I was counting on those diamonds to change everything. The night before, I couldn't sleep. I looked at old photos, Marcus as a baby, both of us exhausted but happy. Marcus at 7 with a piano recital trophy. I hadn't seen him win because I was in London. Marcus at 13 in a tuxedo at a charity gala he didn't want to attend. When had he stopped looking at me with love and started looking at me with resigned obligation? Saturday arrived with perfect October weather. I drove to the spectacular Westchester estate with my mother beside me, the velvet box on my lap. But at the gate, the security guard couldn't find my name. He made a call, then wouldn't meet my eyes. "Ma'am, I have to ask you to leave. The groom specifically requested that you not be admitted today." The words hit like a physical blow. There must be a mistake. I'm his mother. The guard looked genuinely uncomfortable. The instructions were very clear. Mr. Marcus Chin specifically requested that Eleanor Chin not be allowed entry under any circumstances. I stood there watching other guests walk past into the celebration I'd been explicitly excluded from. This wasn't oversight. This was deliberate, his final statement about what I meant to him now. I should have left. Instead, I walked along the perimeter fence, following the iron bars separating me from the celebration. Through them, I saw the ceremony space, white chairs, flowers everywhere, a string quartet. Then I saw him, Marcus, adjusting his bow tie, laughing with his best man. I wanted to call out, to wave the velvet box, but I couldn't make my voice work. That's when Catherine found me, his bride, already in her wedding dress, approaching the fence with caution and sadness. "Miss Chin, you shouldn't be here." I held up the box with shaking hands. "I just want to give him something. A wedding gift. It's everything I've worked for. Could you at least give him this?" She looked at the box, then at my face, with pure pity. "Miss Chin, do you know why Marcus didn't want you here today? 3 months ago, when he called to tell you he was getting married, you told him you were in a meeting and couldn't talk. You never called back. He waited 2 weeks. When he called again, your assistant said you were in Asia. He left a message asking if you'd help with wedding planning or meet me. You never responded. Each word landed like a stone. Your mother came to our planning meetings, helped pick flowers and taste cakes. One day Marcus broke down and said he was done trying to earn your attention. He wanted one day where your absence was planned instead of another disappointment. But I'm here, I said desperately, holding up the box. I cleared my schedule. I have a gift that will secure his entire future. Catherine shook her head. He doesn't want your diamonds. He's never wanted your money. He wanted you to show up to his piano recitals at 12. He wanted you to ask about his dreams and listen. He wanted you to meet his girlfriend before she became his fiancée. He wanted a mom, not a benefactor. I'm sorry, but this is his day, and he's asking for the one thing you've given him most consistently, your absence. Can you give him that?" Then she walked away, leaving me with a box full of diamonds that suddenly felt like the cruelest joke in the world. I don't remember the drive home. When we arrived, I sat in the dark, still clutching the velvet box. $100 million. The sum felt absurd, obscene in its inadequacy. Catherine's words echoed, "He doesn't want your diamonds." All those years, all those sacrifices I'd told myself I was making for Marcus, they'd been for me. For my ego, my ambition. I'd built an empire and called it love. I'd collected diamonds like tokens of devotion instead of just expensive stones that meant nothing without the relationship to give them context. 6 months later, I did something I hadn't done in 30 years. I walked into my office and resigned. My partners were stunned, but I told no one the real truth, that I'd spent 3 decades building something I thought would matter while destroying the only thing that actually did. I sold my shares, set up trusts, donated most of my diamond collection to museums, and walked away. I wrote Marcus a letter. Not an email, but handwritten, taking 3 days to compose. I didn't justify my choices or make excuses. I just apologized for every missed moment, every broken promise, every time I chose a meeting over him. I told him about the diamonds and why they felt so hollow now. I told him I was stepping away from my company, trying to be a better person even if it was too late to be the mother he deserved. I mailed it with no expectation of response. Weeks passed. Then months. I filled my days volunteering at a youth center for single mothers, learning to cook, reading, sitting in parks watching mothers play with their children. I sent a letter every month for a year, each one trying to say what needed to be said. On a Tuesday in September, almost a year after the wedding, my phone rang. "Mom?" The word hit me like lightning. I hadn't heard him call me that in years. "Marcus," I managed. "I got your letter." "All of them." His voice was cautious. "I'm not calling to say everything's okay, because it's not. You missed most of my life, and neither of us can get that back." "I know," I said. "But Catherine and I are expecting a baby. A boy. And I've been thinking about what kind of father I want to be, what mistakes I don't want to make." He paused. "Part of breaking that cycle means giving you a chance to do better too. Not as my mother, maybe that's too damaged to fully repair, but as a grandmother. If you want that." "I want that more than anything," I said through tears. "I want to show up, Marcus. Just be there. Present." "Okay. Then maybe we could have coffee sometime. Just talk." No expectations, no trying to fix 30 years in one conversation. We talked for 20 minutes, carefully, like learning a new language. It wasn't reconciliation, but it was a door opening, a possibility I thought was gone forever. 3 weeks later, we met at a Brooklyn cafe. I arrived 30 minutes early, terrified of being late. When he walked in, I saw my mother's eyes, the boy who stole chocolate chips, the man he'd become without me. We talked for 2 hours about his work, Catherine's pregnancy, the music he was creating. I listened, really listened, learning who my son had become. At one point, he asked about the diamonds. I explained I donated most to museums, but kept a few for a trust for his child, no conditions, just security if needed. "What would you have done if I'd accepted that gift at the wedding?" he asked. "Would it have made you feel better about all the years you were absent?" "Yes," I admitted. "I think I would have convinced myself that diamonds and money could fix what time and presence should have built. I was wrong about almost everything that mattered." "Yeah," he said quietly. "You were." Then he reached across the table and put his hand on mine. "I'm glad you figured that out. Because my son needs a grandmother who shows up, not one who sends expensive gifts from a distance. He needs someone who'll be there for the boring stuff, the everyday stuff that actually matters. Can you do that?" "I'll be there," I promised. "For every moment you'll let me. For the boring and the beautiful and everything in between." What would you have done in Eleanor's position? If you'd spent decades building wealth for your child, only to realize you'd traded everything that mattered for things that meant nothing, would you have had the courage to walk away? And if you were Marcus, could you have forgiven her? Could you have given her a second chance? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Tell me about your own experiences with sacrifice and presence, with the price of ambition. Tell me if you've ever been Eleanor, too focused on providing to realize you weren't present. Or if you've been Marcus, watching a parent choose everything else over you. Here's the truth Eleanor learned too late, but not too late to matter. No amount of diamonds, no career achievement, no financial security can replace the simple act of showing up for the people you love. Not once in a while when guilt demands it, but consistently, imperfectly, presently, choosing them over everything else that seems important but ultimately isn't. Eleanor's story didn't have a perfect ending because real life doesn't work that way. She couldn't undo the past or buy back missed moments. But she could show up for the future, one coffee meeting at a time, one choice to be present at a time. She could trade her diamonds for something infinitely more valuable, time with the people she loved. If you're watching this and realizing you might be making Eleanor's mistakes right now, please hear this. It's not too late. It's never too late to choose presence over productivity, relationship over resume, love over legacy. The people who matter don't need your diamonds or your success. They just need you. Actually you. Present, flawed, trying there. Thank you for watching. If this moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories that challenge you and remind you what really matters. Until next time, show up for someone today. Not with gifts or apologies. Just show up. They're waiting.